Welcome back. We're now on to Chapter 11, Establishing Rewards and Pay Plans. We have our employees on board. We're training them for success. We should probably pay them. An important aspect of any job is finding out what is the relevant pay for this position, what is the pay in association with other jobs in the area. Is it hard to recruit and retain employees for this position? A few things to keep in mind as we're deciding what is the appropriate pay for any position. So first, let's take a look at reward plans. This is where Chapter 11 begins, talking about different types of employees. First, we have to find out, is this employee extrinsically or intrinsically motivated? Do you know the difference between the two? Intrinsically motivated is someone who is very well satisfied with a job well done. They appreciate the attaboys, the communication. They want to feel at the end of the day, not necessarily like they are the highest paid employee, but they are a very valued employee. Then there's someone who is extrinsically motivated, someone that will work for the money, someone that will work a little bit harder for extra pay, enjoys overtime, will work double time, doesn't bother them. They will work harder for money. Different positions are relative to different types of rewards and motivators, but it's important for us to know what type of employee we have. We could have a very common position. We have an office technician. Maybe we have 10 office technicians in our organization. It wouldn't be appropriate to say we need to up the pay because anyone going to be an office technician will only work for the money. In that type of organization or that example, we want to find out what really motivates this individual. Would they be interested in promotion further down the road? Would they be interested in overtime, bonuses? Things we'll keep in mind. So there's some additional benefits that we can work with in any organization in addition to the base pay. Taking a look at, again, different types of reward plans. Performance-based versus membership-based plans. Performance-based is just as it seems. It's really a merit pay system. The more widgets you make, the more money you will make. Very simple. And then there are membership rewards, where it actually looks at your COLA, your cost of living adjustment, and can make modifications to your salary based upon some different living cost adjustments. There were some changes. We mentioned several chapters ago about the Civil Rights Act of 1964. One of those that came just before was the Equal Pay Act of 1963. This is legislation that came through that said, regardless of gender, regardless of experience prior to the job, these are the set wages for a given industry. Of course, those can all be inflated and adjusted just a bit, but that really sets a standard. So if we have someone who's hired on as an entry-level policeman, they make $20 an hour, you can make some cost of living adjustments, but you would make sure that a pair of policemen, two partners, both hired on the same day, would both be making $20 an hour regardless of any exterior motivators. The fact that one is male, one is female, $20 an hour for the position. That's the way it is. Job evaluation and pay structure. We just came out of the previous chapter talking about performance appraisals. How do we tie compensation, tie benefits to the job that the employee is doing? A couple different ways that we can do that. Evaluating their job, we can give incentives for an employee, 6-month bonus, a year bonus. I did mention prior the cost of living adjustment, the COLA. I don't know how familiar you are with that, but that is noted in job evaluation and pay structure. Those of us here in Northern California have different wages than someone living in the city, living in San Francisco, with higher rent, higher commuter costs, things of that nature. If you were to move from Redding in a teaching position to a teaching position down in the Bay Area, you would probably have a higher base wage, higher base rate of pay, based upon the factors that it might take you an extra hour to get to work. It would cost you 3 times as much to live in an apartment in the area as it would up here. Different things that human resources, different tools that we have to attract and retain competent workers. There are, of course, special cases of compensation. Talking about group incentives. If the organization is giving away accrues at the end of the month to whatever department earns the most money, whatever car salesman makes the most sales, whatever it might be, that's a great motivator. But again, generally only if you're extrinsically motivated. will you work a little bit harder for the money? If you're intrinsically motivated, then you're an individual that will really thrive and flourish with the personal communication. Job well done. I notice you're staying later. I really appreciate the hard work that you're putting in. It means just as much as an extra $10 on someone else's paycheck. Things to keep in mind. And the chapter wraps up with executive compensation programs. They say that the executive pay has risen from 24 times that of an average worker in 1965 to over 300 times the salary of an average worker. Those are more and more incentives for people to really work their way up in an organization. Different bonuses, different pay structures. We mentioned at the very beginning of our textbook that employees these days are looking for more than just money. They're looking for flex time. Larger organizations actually have daycare centers available. You can order dinner to go home. Maybe you work an extra hour or two later if you have dinner available to take home to the family. Gyms on site. Extra incentives and bonuses that don't necessarily need to be tied to wages that can be considered benefits and compensation to an employee. So that's chapter 11. We'll move on. Make sure to take care of your weekly burning questions. Let me know if anything arises. We are getting towards the end. Great job.